Okay, and we're back for the third booster. Um, what we have here is the Chromatic Lantern. I actually wanted to open the second booster. Obviously, it's not as good now. There are two cards that really stand out in this booster, which are the Sunspire Griffin and the Stab Wound. Um, they're both really good cards. The Griffin has awesome stats, and the flying is really relevant. Stab Wound, though, is one of the best cards in this set. It's an awesome removal card, but it's also a game plan. If you can get your opponent low enough to low enough so that you don't have to attack anymore, you can just put the stab wound on it and just wait 3 turns and it'll die out. There are not a lot of cards that can get rid of stab wound. Keening Apparition is one. There are cards like Void Wielder who can use their ability to just clean up the stab wound, but it's always going to do 2 damage for you, and that's basically all you need at that point. There's another stab wound here. We have cards like Dreadbore, which we can easily splash at this point. We have a Red Gate, we have 2 Promenades. Same goes for Call of the Conclave, although it's a little bit worse than the splash because it needs to be played early game and turn 2 will be filled up with playing a Promenade in that case. We have another Knightly Valor, but once again, Stab Wound is really a good card. It wins games. You slap it on a defender and the defender goes down. You slap it on a creature that doesn't fly, your fires can still go to town. Which make it just awesome. I'm going to take this Stab Wound again, and I hope I can. If you don't believe me, I hope I can show you in action. But if you've played this format, you'll know that Stab Wound is really good. We have Ultimate Price here, which is also a really good removal spell. The other cards are really nothing to write home about. I mean, Izzet Staticaster is fun. Against some decks it's really good, against other decks it's not as good. And well, the other cards are just the random dogs that we've talked about before, the Sentry defenses. So Ultimate Price it is, and don't look back. So we have another Guild Gate here. It's a non-color one, even if you want to play the Grizzly Self, which are the 2 coming moves. It helps on Jailbreaker at this point. We have Augur Spree and Skymark Rock, and those are the 2 cards I want to highlight out of this booster. We can splash those cards. We have 2 Promenades. We have 2 colors that are not really high on the requirements except for the Angel, but that's very late game. So we could support the 3rd color, and the red would be better than blue because we have a Rakdos Guild Gate, but Skymark Rock is a game breaker. He is a flying hill giant, and if Sunspire Griffin has good stats, then Skymark Rock definitely has good stats. He attacks and he cleans up any small blocker. Anything that would kill a Celestial Sentry will probably go away with the Skymark Rock. So I really want to get this card and just fix it in. It doesn't cost us anything because we were probably going to play the Promenades anyway to fix up the white and the black stuff. And its power level is just off the charts. I'm amazed we're getting so many good cards right now. I mean, there's a launch party here. That's the 5th big launch party, and that's late. I like the launch party with sort of songbirds and all the other crappy small creatures like the rest that basically did their job on turn 4 and can be thrown away to try to get something big. There's another Jailbreaker in here. We have 14 creatures right now, and one of them is the Ooze. So I'll just make that leave and make the salvage leave because we're not going to play those cards. We have another Jailbreaker, but we only have 2 gates, so it will have Defender about half the time, unless our games go long. And I can see our games going long, but I'm hoping that they won't. So I'm just going to take the launch party as another removal spell, which goes well with all the other guys. So here we have Concordia Pegasus or Slitherhead. I like Slitherhead. I didn't like Slitherhead that much at the start, but I am liking it more and more and more. It's really relevant in just having a 3-power guy hop over to the 4-power range so it can beat through walls. The problem with our deck is that we have hardly any 3-power guys with sentries, but that's just about it. Skymark Rock doesn't need that kind of advantage because it's flying and the walls don't. And all the other creatures can do squat with a +1/+1 counter. I mean, turning Azorius Arrestor into 3/2 brings it into the same range of problems that Celestial Sentry has. The 1/1 body on itself is okay, but unless we can pick up a Civic Saber in the next pick, that's not going to help us at all. Concordia Pegasus is a really good blocker in the early game, so if we need to stall it out till we get our Angel or our Walker back, then he can do that for us. So that's a better pick in my opinion. We have Sewer Shambler here, which is a decent guy. The 2 power scavenge is a lot more relevant than the 1 power scavenge was. It can turn Solar Songbirds into 3/4, which isn't enough to burst walls, but it is enough to withstand sand towers, and that's a good thing. We could opt for Sunring Growth as a sideboard card. We have enough playables as it is, but I'm not opposed to having a bit more diversity. Also, Sewer Shambler is a good sideboard card against decks with black, because that's what blocks. So I'm going to take this, and Sunring Growth might even table around to us still. Even so, we have Guiding Apparition should we run across a nasty enchantment. Here we have another gate. Basically at this point it's a common play tap swamp that allows our Ogre Jailbreaker to attack. I don't mind having it, but we already have 4 common play tap lands, 2 of which are also going to siphon away 1 of our other mana, and I don't like that very much. I like Dagger Drum Imp, but with no way to boost its power, it's just a little chipper. It's okay, we have the Knightly Valor, we have the Sewer Shambler, and it can still trade with a bird token or anything, so I'm going to take it, but I don't know if it will make the main deck at this point. Also we have Swift Justice, but that's a bit redundant. I don't like playing Swift Justice on a lifelink creature. It just negates so much of the effects, and I'll only do it if I really need to win that combat. So right now it's looking like I'm going to play the guild gates we have, even though they're just going to play tap plane and they're going to play tap swamp for the Jailbreaker, because he's worth it. I don't think it disturbs the curve a lot, but we'll have to see when we put the deck together. Here we have Common Bond, which is a very good trick. I'm surprised that it's coming so late. We also have Rogue's Passage, which is a card that I really like in decks like this. All these guys like User Investors and the Slash Instantries who aren't going to do anything beyond turn 5 and 6, except providing critical mass, they need something to actually be useful again, and Rogue's Passage is that card. Rogue's Passage allows it to just attack, it uses your mana when you have nothing to do, because our end game is severely lacking. We have the Angel, we have the Knightly Valor, but that's about it, and there's nothing to do with our manas after that. I'd actually, if we didn't have the rock, I'd just play 16 lands in this deck, because we really don't need our 5th land. I mean, it's nice so we can play Valor and the Age of Serenity, but there's nothing to do with it besides that. So this deck it's very easy to flood out with a deck like this, even though and even with the card like Pack Rats, you can still flood out if you draw nothing but lands and something happens to your Pack Rats. And there are answers to Pack Rats, then they just die off. Here these cards, they're all unplayable. I'll just take Cremate, and even though it take Cremate, but keep me in mind that I can board it in against cards that use the graveyard, I never board in Cremate. It's just not good enough. It replaces itself, so it barely costs anything, but it's still not worth putting in your deck. Nothing happens when you do it. Even the scavenge cards like Wreck Manglers, Sewer Shamblers, they're not worth cremating most of the time. You're sitting just on this card that doesn't do anything, and then you play it, and sure, they lose a resource that they might have counted on or not, and that's it. That's just, they lose a random effect of one of their lesser creatures, and that's not worth playing a card for. Yeah, I really like Sword for Assassin. So right now we have 26 cards arranged here, and we need to see what we're going to cut. We can start thinking about it while we're waiting for the last picks, because they're not going to impact the deck anyway. We have the removal spells, which are certainly going in. Most of the of the later cards are going in. I mean, these 6 cards, they're in. The 2 stab wounds, they're in. And then we just leave up with a lot of the dorks. I mean, Ultimate Price is going to make it, Pack Rat is going to make it, Justice will probably both make it, and we need that combat edge at this point. And then we have just a lot of dorks, and we're probably going to cut a few of the dorks. Maybe the Avenging Arrow, since we have quality removal on the other side with 2 large parts of stab points Ultimate Price. So we don't really need the arrow. But we'll have to move it around a bit, so I'm going to wait until I get the deck building screen and we'll start laying it out. Okay, here we go. So first we move, wow, this is the draft with the least multicolor cards ever. I'm just going to move the cards that we're definitely not going to play into this pile, and we just drag the lines over here. So this is definitely all going in. This might go in, this might go in. And these 2 definitely aren't going in. Okay, so this is basically the core of the deck. We need to stuff it now with the things we have, and these are the creatures at 2 and 3, and we have the 2 spells. First, we have a few creatures that are certainly going to make, like the Arresters. They provide the power we need. If we want to be aggressive, they can do that. If we want to be defensive, they can do that. That's exactly what we need. Sewer Shambler is just quality-wise above the rest because of its scavenge ability, and the fact that Swamp Walk makes it relevant in about 1/3 of the games as an unlockable beater. Now, if we want to go for the aggressive route, then we really need the sentries. If we want to go for the defensive route, which leans more heavily on our bombs like Infamous Vanity, Pack Rats and Stab Wounds, then we need creatures that are defensive, which are at this point the 2 Pegasus and the Daggerfall Imp. Avenging Arrow is an extra removal spell if we want it, and Rootborn Defenses is a combat trick that can help us get a Pack Rat or an extra bird. I would include Rootborn Defenses in any case. It helps the Pack Rats, it helps us survive, it helps us attack. So, since we're going to be in a plan that involves a lot of small creatures, I think Rootborn Defenses can help us protect those creatures so we can actually achieve either the attacking or the defending plan. Which leaves us with basically a selection of these 3 cards, and either Avenging Arrow or a card of the other pile. And these all have flying, which means that besides being defensive cards, they can also help out when we are doing the Stab Wound plan to just prick through the air. Just make one of their guys small. Maybe it's an X-Bane Guardian, maybe it's a Lubber Crew, maybe hell, it could even be Dead Traveler. And just go with the flyers to town and chip away his life total. I like that plan. This plan is more straightforward. It's just attack, and you can use Stab Wounds to finish off a big blocker after you ran a small guy into it, or maybe you can put it on a big guy after you've dealt damage with small guys. Frankly, with the setup that we have right here, I think the Stab Wound plan has a lot more chance of winning than the aggressive plan. It helps that we probably don't have a lot of access to green mana, so the Sentry's late game ability will also do nothing. Of course, we have 2 Promenade and we're going to play the Guild Gate, so we have 3 green mana sources, but still. And I like the flying plan better in that case. So we're going to put the 3 flyers in. We have room for 1 more card, which could be any one of these 4 cards. I think it comes down to personal preference at this point, because none of these cards really help our game plan. And I'm going to make it 1 sentry, just curve flies. We have a lot of 2-drops already. We have 7 creatures that we can play on turn 2. So just having a 3 power guy that can trade with a Centaur might be just worth it. Remember that we can always sideboard, so if we go to the Selesnya, first the Selesnya deck, then we are going to board in the Selesnya Sentry and the Avenging Arrow, because we're going to need it against our fat guys. If we're playing against the Rakdos deck, with a lot of cards like Spattle Tug and Death Raveler, then we might want to swap out the Pegasus for the Avenging Arrow in the Keening apparition, because they can just they can do something against those cards. They can either attack back or they can solve one of those. And the Pegasus can't. They can't block them, they can't raise them, so they're really worse in that situation. Now that we have this, we're going to do the mana magic. We have the Rogue's Passage, which is colorless.